Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Football Talk. And today, your boy will be reacting to explaining the saltiest ball game in football history. The saltiest. Did I say that right? That don't sound, I don't even know if that's a real word. But man, oh man, okay. I'm ready to see this. I'm not sure if this is going to be recent or not. I don't know. This is an interesting one. I figure I'll react to this. I think this is my first time reacting to this channel. Also, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get the channel name right quick for you guys. Isaac Punts. Shout out to Isaac Punts. For this one, the original video will be linked in the description down below. So if you want to check that out on your own time, you can check it out there. Without further ado though, let's jump into it.
We are nearing the end of the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Referees are holding back South Carolina coach Shane Beamer. Illinois' head coach is jawing from across the field at him. He seems to be T-posing at Shane Beamer while checking on his player. What is going on? What happened and how did we get here? Well, to understand the saltiest, pettiest bowl game I've ever seen, we are going to have to do what we do so well.
What we do here is go back.
And to begin, let's take a look at South Carolina's head coach, Shane Beamer, because there was a lot of frustration building into this game. South Carolina opened their season by barely beating Old Dominion as this CUSA team went into an SEC team's home opener and made the Gamecocks offense look completely flaccid, as they even held the lead at one point in the fourth quarter, and if it wasn't for a fumble at the 4-yard line, giving the ball back to the Gamecocks in striking distance to just squeeze out the win before going to Kentucky and having a smooth sailing 31-6 victory.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me Old Dominion almost beat South Carolina? And LSU, we had to come back against them boys. What? This shit crazy, man.
It was after this game, though, that we would start to see the theme of this video, and that was South Carolina getting screwed. Now, this game was filled with ref ball, regardless, with there being 22 penalties in a 60-minute affair. But holy hell was South Carolina the ones getting screwed the most. They opened up by jumping out to a 17-0 lead thanks to a blocked punt, some good defense, before slowly but surely that lead would start to be chipped away. LSU put together a big drive, forced a fumble, to suddenly be within one score. And after more scores by LSU and South Carolina, in the final drive of the half, their star quarterback Sellers goes down with an ankle injury just to make the second half that much harder to navigate for the Gamecocks. But that second half, that second half, 3rd and 10 throwing into the end zone. Pass interference. They hold off with a big goal line stand, but their offense was hamstringed now and had to punt, giving the Tigers great field position, which was quickly turned into a score. 2 minutes and 22 seconds left, 2nd and 4. Pass interference number 2, and suddenly LSU had the first lead of the day. That wouldn't last long as South Carolina found a huge crease for a 66-yard gain, where even on that big score, the 2-point conversion was broken up by an offensive lineman, allegedly going too far downfield, drawing another penalty, even though when we look at the freeze frame, you don't really see it, to get that attempt called back, and then the second attempt was no good. Things looked like they were going great and were about to even get better when, on a drive that was set way back by an offensive pass interference call against South Carolina, they get strip sacked in easy scoring range. But as LSU was attempting to score, they get a pick 6 to set them up 2 scores ahead, but there was a flag on that play for an alleged unnecessary roughness, despite the fact that it was a relatively tame hit to keep them from being up 11 points and putting them back at the 10-yard.
Okay, I know I'm an LSU fan, and so what I'm about to say is going to sound biased, but it may seem tame. Well, be honest with you, watching it live and seeing the highlight when it actually came out, that was not tame. It's a blind side. I mean, they're going to protect the quarterback. And in that situation, anything could have happened. The way our quarterback landed, that could have been a concussion. He could have been out for the rest of the year. It's a lot of things that could have happened on that one. So I don't agree with him saying that it was tamed, because that was not tamed at all.
Yard line where their offense was already struggling. So they're forced to punt. LSU gets the ball and scores to go up 3, and even after all of this, South Carolina gets into field goal range to tie it up, and the kick is missed. Now, I'm not saying the calls were all wrong, but it is without a doubt an extremely frustrating ways to lose, and even the announcers ended the game saying something along the lines of it being a very controversial game with refs playing a huge role. But they got to take their frustration out on Akron before getting another frustrating game against Ole Miss that had turnovers, fourth down failed conversions, a missed field goal, and the general vibe that despite a lopsided 27-3 score, they felt like they should have been able to compete in that game a bit more, but had their biggest test of the season coming up with Alabama coming to them. And oh man, if you are an Alabama fan, this game took a minimum of 3 years off your life, and if you're a South Carolina fan, it took 12. I mean, you had safeties, Alabama giving the ball back to the Gamecocks with a second left in the half to get them a field goal where they took the lead, then fumbled it away.
I don't remember this game, but hearing him describe it,
the ball in scoring range, then drove and missed a go-ahead field goal before Alabama scored with less than 2 minutes left, made it seem like the game was over, but South Carolina brought it within 2, and my God, they got the onside kick back with 40 seconds, and then what the hell was that play? Regardless of if you were sitting on your couch and didn't move a muscle, you burn more calories than
what?
if you ran a mile. Regardless.
That's how this game ended? I'm not saying South Carolina deserves this, but they're making it really hard to argue their case. I mean, they do some stupid shit at the end of the games. I'm just saying. Not obviously the refs, they got some calls that controversial, but they make some stupid decisions too. We gotta blame it on the team at the end of the day. You cannot let me tell y'all something. A coach when I was younger told me this. If the ref dictates whether you win or lose, you already lost entering that game. That's all I'm saying.
Of which side you are on, with South Carolina now sitting at a depressing 3-3. But they would then go on an absolute tear, not losing another game and going into Death Valley to take on Clemson, who was seen to be one of the better teams in the country, and playing their heart out to win by 3, while banging the drum alongside Ole Miss and Alabama that one of these 3 teams should be the 5th SEC team to make it to the playoffs, with South Carolina arguably having the best case, only losing to strong teams with their loss to LSU having a big gaping asterisk beside it. But the committee decided against it, with Clemson making it in over the team that just beat them at home, and South Carolina was now off to face Illinois, who was in a different but strikingly similar position. Yes, they were also 9-3, but 2 of those losses also came from 2 playoff teams, opposed to 2 slightly above the pack middle SEC teams, with them having one more embarrassing loss to the Golden Gophers, with their last 2 drives ending with turnover on downs and a fumble in the red zone, just 8 points away from tying it up. But that's the Big Ten though, getting less babying by the media, so they did no such pouting about missing the playoffs and just prepared for their bowl game where, boy howdy, people were really looking forward to see how all these whining SEC teams would look in their bowl games. And to start off, well, they only went 50% in the opening week of the college football playoff, with Texas hanging on to beat Clemson in a deceptively unclose final score of 38-24.
It was a really
but
weird
then
game.
their 4th team to make it in, Tennessee, got absolutely gobsmacked
They got dog
by
walked.
Ohio State in a deceptively close 42-17.
But it was Ohio State.
That was deceptively
And
close.
after that Michigan
and
loss,
then it started happening.
they
on
looked like the
cusp
best team
SEC
in college
teams
football.
began falling. First, it was Oklahoma with a 1-point loss to Navy in their bowl game. Then Texas A&M had a 4-point loss to USC before their bell cow of Alabama suffered an embarrassing 6-point loss to Michigan.
And I
this
love
was like
it.
D-Day mixed with Pearl Harbor for SEC homers, and now it was South Carolina's time to take on Illinois with all this pressure, and it starts off like a perfectly crafted Shane Beamer.
One of the best
nightmare
ball
scenario.
games, the
From
Cheez-Its.
play number
Come on
one,
now.
South Carolina shifts a full 5 guys on their kickoff unit and proceeded to drop kick the ball to throw off the Fighting Illini as Beamer ball was in full swing. And during that play, there was already a flag as ref ball was in full go. A few plays later, an Illinois
Ref
was
ball,
forced to
wow.
punt, and during that, one of their players leveled the returner, but it was determined that he was blocked into the player. But it's just more fuel to the frustration fire. The Gamecocks would put together a solid field goal drive before another ticky-tack pass interference against the Gamecocks set up the Illini to be at first and goal. But the frustrations would go both ways, because as they attempted to drive it in, the ball gets allegedly jarred free, and the fact that there's no good camera angle to prove it, and if anything, nobody really in the announcing booth believed that it was a fumble, gave South Carolina the ball back, as it seemed like bad calls were just going back and forth between the teams and making sure that both coaches were fired up and on edge. It was also getting to the announcing crew, as with still 5 minutes left in the first quarter, when they got called on a delay of game against the Gamecocks for allegedly using disconcerting signals. People were starting to get really frustrated. A few
Not trying to pause too much. I can't stand that rule. That new rule. I cannot stand it at all. Happened in the NFL game 1. Who what? No. Not in the NFL. LSU. Not last year, not this season, but the year before that. It happened. I can't. Why did they make? When did they make that rule and why? Like I can't stand it.
few plays later, a shift by a defensive lineman caused the offensive line to jump as the flags just kept pouring in, and even players were starting to get chippy with each other. Even on a play with no flags, Shane was absolutely fuming at the refs, and we've yet to leave the first quarter of this game, but the quarter
We're
ends with a
still in the
frustrating,
first quarter?
long and painful Big Ten West style 11-play 66-yard drive, with the tension between teams and players rising until South Carolina's answering drive. We got the first of a new theme. South Carolina on 1st and 10 had to do a late substitution, and Illinois, seeing the play clock winding down, decided to substitute rather slowly, forcing the Gamecocks to blow a timeout, further infuriating Shane Beamer still less than halfway into
I'll
this
be
game,
mad too,
even
but that's
further
smart.
exacerbated by a 4th down muddle huddle fake field goal attempt as Kai throws the ball maybe a hair short as the pass gets broken up, meaning that long and arduous drive down the field resulted in South Carolina still being down 4.
What?
Even after forcing the Illinois punt, they drive the long length of the field to end the half in field goal range with a field goal that was missed. It was a frustrating, referee-heavy first half where the score still said 3-7, but we still have the heated half left. Immediately, Illinois opens up the half with an onside kick, just antagonizing the Gamecocks even though they didn't get the ball back, but the defense tightened up to justify.
Okay, I gotta admit, South Carolina deserved that, okay? I mean, to open up the game with the kick that they did and the motion that they did, they deserved it. I ain't gonna lie to you, they deserve it. I'm agreeing and disagreeing with some of his takes in this, but, you know, I'm hanging in there. It's a good,
By the
great
decision
video.
with a big 3 and out, being forced to punt it back, and then, despite still having slower substitutions, the Gamecocks finally find the end zone and regain the lead. But unfortunately, the only thing worse than not having the lead is having it and then losing it. So they pick off the Illini, fumble it back, and 9 frustrating plays later, and the lead was once again gone.
They gave
which
it
is
right
especially
back!
salty against a death by paper cup types offense that Illinois was running. But in an attempt to swing the momentum back in his favor, Shane Beamer did the unthinkable. You see, there's an arm movement that players do where they plan on not returning it or let the ball go over their head, where they simply hold their arms out, signaling to their own team that they don't intend on returning it, so don't injure yourself.
Look
by
at everybody.
blocking.
Look at
But
everybody.
Shane
That's the
used
sign.
it as a ruse. The ball was thrown back to Harbor and he picked up 25 yards. Now, some would say that this play was executed in poor taste, using a fake signal that's only used to keep players healthy to disguise a fake return is something that's dubious at best and amoral at worst, and you can guess which side Brett Belima was on in this debate. So after he gets his one back by forcing a delay of game with a slow substitution, the play after, a couple plays further in,
That's what your
and
ass
one of his
get.
players goes down near the opposing
Not that.
sideline. and he took this opportunity to let out some of that frustration he was feeling.
Oh, I
as
seen
he
this
checks
clip.
on his guy, he walks away, staring down Shane Beamer and holding out his arms to mock him. And
I
this
seen
moment
this
is when all
clip.
the frustration that from the entire season for Shane was finally let out as he snaps, because while Brett later cleared up that he was referring to the trick play from a couple minutes earlier, it also looked a lot like a substitution signal. The signal that had been plaguing Shane all game, and even 2 plays after that at the 1 yard line,
Nah,
the Gamecocks tried
they
to substitute late once
petty.
again, but the Illini sideline slowly but surely trots on a new crop of defensive linemen to force the Gamecocks to use another timeout.
These two teams
As we
deserve
cut
each other.
to both head coaches, Shane is fuming, Brett is laughing, and the pettiness meter is at an all-time high. This 14-10 Cheez-Its Bowl had the stadium rocking. Fans were ready to fight each other, and a few plays later, and now Illinois' shift causes USC to jump, but that wouldn't stop them from scoring for long. But things were just absolutely popping off. As 12 plays after that, Illinois finds the end zone after a long 7-minute drive. Where now, on South Carolina's final drive, they take it. People are salty, and on 4th and 4, the game on the line, Lenora Sellers drops back, finds his receiver wide open, but ends up instead ending the saltiest bowl game, maybe of all time.
Complete in the end zone.
He dropped it. What? Nah, I gotta watch that game. I don't remember if I reacted to that, but if I didn't, I might gotta go back and watch that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, like I said, some of his points I agreed with, some other ones I didn't. But this was a perfect matchup for these two. Okay, both shady as hell. The two coaches, bro. Oh my god. The Illinois one where he's doing this, like, come on, bro. Yo, I felt like I was watching a high school football game. Like y'all, you know when it's like rivalry week and it's that Friday night game, and something is going to happen. Somebody gonna be fighting somebody, or somebody's gonna be yelling at somebody, shoving. It's something that's going to happen no matter what. That's why I felt like when watching this right here. But once again, a great video by this channel. I don't think I've checked out this channel on before, so maybe some more videos soon. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Love you guys, and see you guys in the next one.